Hi designers, this is Shelby. Today I am going to do a demo video on how to distort a sofa. So a lot of times when you're working on a rendering, you may need to put a sofa in a view similar to the one shown here. And the photo you have of the sofa may not be conducive to that. So typically you may have either straight on view or kind of a side view like this, and you want to actually make it more of a steep side view to look more accurate in the perspective of the room. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that. So to start, I just have my photoshopped sofa on a blank background here. And the whole idea here is that I'm going to be cutting this sofa into individual faces, distorting those, and then rebuilding it. So think of it kind of like a cube. You have 6 sides to a cube, each one is its own face, and you can kind of take those apart and then rebuild it. So to start, I'm actually gonna just kind of chop off the legs and actually, let me back up. To start, I'm gonna create a duplicate copy of this and hide it in case I mess anything up and need to revert to the original. Then I'm just gonna kind of take off the legs because those are something pretty easy I can just slap on at the end in the right angle. Okay, so I'm just gonna drag those over here, and I'm actually gonna start with the side of the sofa. So you can actually see here, you're gonna see more of the side, and it's kind of gonna be in a straight on perspective. So I'm just gonna start kind of cutting out using my lasso tool. Oops. This face over here. And now if I distort this, I can make sure the bottom is a straight line. This isn't the best quality photo, but I'll show you a trick to kind of clean this up in a second. Okay, so this is already more realistic as the side of the sofa. If you want to clean up those lines, you can literally just cut the sides off so that they're cleaner. This was originally against a dark background, which is why the edges have this weird darkness. But you can just go in and kind of trim all that stuff out so it looks nice and clean. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit wider. So now that's the side of my sofa. Next, I am going to kind of work on this front piece. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and think about what angle I actually need it at. It's helpful if you're actually working in the rendering because you can kind of line it up with the perspective of the room. So you can see here it's a little bit below this arm. I'm going to put it kind of at a steeper perspective, and you can always adjust these faces if you keep them separate. Okay, now I'm going to look at the backs of these cushions and kind of cut this out as its own face. Just move that out of the way again. This is going to take some adjusting along the way, but you can see as I go how I'm getting closer and closer to that final correct perspective. Okay, so maybe this needs to like lean back a little bit more. Maybe you realize now this actually needs to be a little bit wider. Now the seats can be tricky. A lot of times I'll just kind of work with one cushion that's in the best shape, and then duplicate that over. So if I copy that, again, I'm just using the distort tool for almost all of these pieces. Just kind of playing with it until it looks more or less accurate. You can always kind of trim off some edges if it's looking messy. Maybe this comes out further, you realize. So for example, I might just trim off that corner and then duplicate this and distort that. A lot of times you can get by just using the angles from the photography you have, but this is kind of an advanced version of that. Okay. And then we have this arm in the back. Let's try to kind of put that in place. By distorting that. And then this arm over here may be a little tricky. I'm just going to see how this goes. Put it on the top of everything. You probably actually want to cut these out for now. So I think I'm going to actually end up needing to work on these separately. You may need to kind of fake it so it looks a little bit longer. Again, just kind of trial and error until it looks more or less accurate. And this, it's going to be easier to work with kind of just a straight piece here. One of the best things about this is you actually will end up hiding a lot of these imperfections if you put some pillows on the sofa. So you can see here, this covers a lot of the sofa, which helps a lot. And then you may actually see kind of some of the tops of these cushions a little bit. You could kind of try to fake that in a few ways. So I'm just going to cut off the top of the existing cushions and see if it works to distort that so it looks like a flat piece. Again, you might just want to work with one cushion and kind of duplicate it. Or just kind of trim off this end piece. Okay, so you can see more or less I'm pretty close to that new angle. You can kind of finesse things as you need to. If you feel like this is still kind of grainy looking, you might want to brighten it up. This you may want to brighten up as well. You may even want to try copying this over to the other arm and playing with that. But when you're ready, you can kind of put back your legs. Where they would realistically go. Oops. And then you can either kind of merge all this or just group it so you still maintain the individual layers, except that I accidentally grouped this with it. And then if there's any kind of last tweaks, you could also tweak the entire thing a little bit if needed. But you can see then, if I were to throw some pillows over it, It really kind of hides a lot of the imperfections. And you have a sofa that looks a lot more accurate than that original angle you had to work with. So that is the tutorial on distorting a sofa. I hope that's helpful for your renderings. Thanks.